Hello, people of the world, and welcome back on the Marry in Motion podcast. Today I'm with Clément.
Hi everyone.
You heard him already in his episode about Taiwan. If you haven't listened to it, just go. It was a very good episode. Also, we are outside, so if you hear some noise, right now there is a bit of wind. There is also a baby crying somewhere. I hope it will still be nice to listen. So, Clément, I wanted to talk with you today because you spent a few months in Cambodia, right?
Exactly. I think I spent somewhere around 4 months. It was last year from end of August to beginning of December. So yeah, around 4 months. It was in Phnom Penh, so the capital city of Cambodia.
And you were volunteering there?
I was volunteering, exactly. So basically what I was doing was I was sent there by a French organization. I'm not going to name drop it, but they have some offices back in Paris, and then they have some things on field. That's what they call it. So in Cambodia, what they do is they opened up a school. So I went there, and my primary job was to organize everything around recycling there. But at the end of the day, I was doing 50-50, so 50 recycling and stuff, and 50% just giving classes to the students. One particularity of the school I was teaching at was that all students were girls, and they were all girls from the little town we were in. So basically we were right in the middle of the town, and every family was around, and we had at the school we had all the little girls from grade 1 to grade, I'm not sure how much, but grade very old, like 17 or 18 years old.
That's very interesting. And how did you end up in this program?
I've always wanted to volunteer somewhere, maybe not for the good reasons, but that's something we'll talk about later. And I just came to know someone that has done the exact same thing, so she told me that it was a nice experience for her, and so I applied and they took me.
Yeah, I wanted to use you to talk about voluntourism, because for those who don't know, voluntourism is a blend between volunteering and tourism. It's when people travel abroad, often to developing countries, to participate in short-term volunteer projects. It's often in a way to give back. It's very criticized because it's mostly white young people that go there and try to
That's what I look like.
Yes, you're white and you're young. And it's linked to the white savior...
saviorism?
White saviorism, we say that?
I think that's how we say it.
And so it's the idea that white people feel the need to save the people in developing countries, while they ignore the complexity of all the context and all the dynamics and everything.
And I think this desire to save the people from the, sorry for the term, but poor country, maybe comes from our past, because Cambodia was a French colony, and so were so many countries in Africa. So maybe we sometimes, as European, privileged white Europeans, we want to be like, oh, sorry for what happened a few centuries back, but now we are gonna go back to your country and try to help the situation. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's how.
Yeah, but it's not really helping, because then you just recreate what happened. Maybe they were colonized and now they don't want to have French people coming there and trying to help them anymore.
In a way, you're right, because I think it just copies a mechanism from the past that clearly did not work. But in a way, it does also help up to a certain extent, and I think it changes, that extent changes from experiences to experiences. In my opinion, I wouldn't say I was useless going there. However, I think for the time and the money spent, I could have found something more convenient and better to do with that time and money.
But what do you mean you were useful? What kind of thing did you do that the locals couldn't do?
That the locals couldn't do? Not much. What I did, maybe everyone could have done it, but I think someone had to do it and no one does it, you know? Mm-hmm. So I mean, whether it be a Cambodian person or a French person doing this job, I think it's a useful job. Then again, who does the job? doesn't really matter. Probably some local person would do it more conveniently, but I would do it with more modern tools because we're used to use computers and phones and stuff. So I had a way of organizing stuffs in Excels or via mails and stuff that they sometimes didn't have. So maybe that technology helped. But yes, my job could have been done by anyone.
Did you train those people, or did you just, because you say you used tools that they didn't use, but did you show them how you did, so then when you left they had something left?
I think in a way yes, because I remember we were working in an office with 3 Khmer people, so local people, and 4 French people. So in a way we were kind of separated because they would speak their language and we would speak ours, but every meeting and stuff we would all do together. So I think we helped them and they helped us because everyone has a different way of doing stuff. So yes, I would hope my stay there was not absolutely useless. However, yes, for 4 months I could have done more things in France. Or
did you ever volunteer in France before?
Volunteer in a way, yes. I would go, it's called maraude in French, so basically you ask people to give you food, for example when they leave the store, and then you store it all, and then you cook it, then you put it in some little box, and then you go around like in big cities and you give them to homeless persons. I think that's mainly the only thing I've done other than picking up trash from the street, but I'm not sure that that's really volunteering.
A lot of people want to go volunteering abroad, but they actually never volunteer in their home country.
Yeah.
So like, why would you want to volunteer at all if you don't do it there? Like, you just want to travel.
Oh,
so
because it's probably more sexy in Vietnam than in a city in France.
Yeah, but that's also the problem.
It
they
is.
could just go travel and not be like, oh, I helped some children and we do some cute pictures.
Yeah, also because you have to take the plane. I mean, you don't have to, but most of the times people do. So that and that and that at the end of the day adds up to like a pretty negative score that you really have to counterbalance with some good work there if you want to make it a valuable trip.
For me, my opinion was very strict on this, that it was not good, that it couldn't be. But now that I chat with you, I think that maybe you brought them something. Because in my head, if something could have been done by locals, then they should have not wasted the money to bring you. Because were you paid?
That's an interesting question. I was going to bring it up. I was paid by a French organization. So in a way, I was not paid by locals.
Mm-hmm.
I was paid by basically you and me. If you go to Sephora, for example, and you pay $15.75, then you can round up to 16 and 25 cents is gonna go to my organization and they're gonna pay me with that 25 cents. So yes, someone paid, but it's not Cambodian people who paid. So in a way, they're receiving money and workforce for nothing. So that's also why I say it could be good, but I understand that I was paid something like 330 euros a month. So not much, to be fair, but enough in Cambodia. Maybe that money would be more interesting to be given, like let's say 10 euros to each family or something each month than to my salary. I'm not sure.
Or even used to train the people instead of having you and you using some tools they don't know. They could have some training.
Of course, yeah.
With that money instead of paying you.
But have you already done volunteering, Mary?
No, not like this. I mean, I've never done anything.
Okay. And would that be something you'd be interesting to do?
At some point, yes, but then I thought about all of these topics and I thought, why would I want to volunteer in Thailand while I've never volunteered in France?
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to do some work in foreign countries, but I wouldn't say volunteering. I wanted to, I don't know, work in a field or something, but in exchange for shelter, for example. But I didn't want to be paid or something. I wanted to do some moving, maybe, but I didn't feel comfortable doing something really in a school or with an organization because I don't really know which are good, which are really helping the people.
Yeah. I think that's a big part because I've heard about people that I know that have been to Africa or Asia, they pay and they do stuff there, and then they go home and they're happy because they helped in a way. But I think from what I've read and what I've talked to with lots of different people, when you are the one paying, usually you should not do it, because then the money is going to go to someone's pocket. And if you really want to give that money to, let's say, Cambodia, just give it to an organization there. Just don't go by yourself.
Yeah, giving to a local organization and not a European organization that would say, yeah, we are going to give it there.
Probably, yeah.
Because sometimes they work in association, but you never really know if it really helps and if it's some sustainable development. Because I don't know, I've seen so many associations in my school that are like, you can go in Togo and build some schools. Great. And then what? Like, it's just us that are like, let's build some schools there, but we don't really know if they need. So there were people in my school going there, even though they are not construction workers.
Yes, exactly.
And then they would just build a house, but they had no skills, so they would just build a shitty building.
How ineffective is that?
Yeah, and they would never use it. So, I don't know. I would like to work with local organizations, but as a trained person that they don't have the skills in this organization.
Yeah,
For example,
you're right.
as an engineer, I would like to go there and maybe help somewhere, but not as just someone that would teach English, or because a lot of people do that. I think you did a bit too. But then I would rather give some money so they train the teachers, so then it's sustainable. Because if you leave after 2 weeks,
then what happened? Yeah, what's gonna stay? And you're right, because as I mentioned before, like, part of my job was doing the teaching, which is something I've done, but I've never been trained for doing that. So I'd say I'm okay at teaching, but how can I really be sure, right? And the other way was doing all the recycling stuff and trying to make some processes that, or when you have some plastic, you put it in that bin. So to sum it up, like, I had to buy the trash bins because we didn't have any. One trash, one color, and then we have people coming and then taking, and it was a little bit complex, and that's a job I had in France, so I think that's why they hired me. So I was really happy to do something I was trained for.
Mm-hmm.
But the teaching part was so hard, because for me, I'm pretty sure that everything I taught the girls, they're gonna forget it. So I try to make it fun, but at the end of the day, it was not real class, you know. We had fun, we were talking. I was teaching about nature and ecology, so we were talking about the sun, about animals, stuff like that. But is it going to be helpful for them? Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
I also know that children get attached quite quickly to people.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for the girls, for example, that have someone that come and they're super excited and they love you, and then a few months later you leave and someone new is coming. So it can be very hard for them.
Exactly, because at first I was a bit blinded by the idea of, we're gonna go there and they will be happy that they have some company, right? Because when you go there, I was so happy to talk to the kids. I like kids, so we will play together and stuff. But when I came back, I try to document myself about that. Like, the worst effect for a kid is every few months change their whole environment. Mm-hmm. And everything they do changes. The language they speak in changes, and everything changes. So yeah, they're not really stable, and as a result of that, I think they're going to be always dependent on someone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. Because as I said, the teachers are not trained, and so it's just someone coming, so they would just rely always on a white guy coming to teach English or sustainability or anything. Before you went there, you had some expectations that were not met, or not?
Expectations were met, to be fair, because I was not expecting much. Also, I could be happy if you give me sun and a place to sleep at. So that's what I had. Also, I had good friends and stuff. So my experience, if you don't talk about the work part, but just the fun part, was amazing. And I also think that's why people like to go volunteering in Asia or Africa, because at the end of the day it's more fun and more cheap. But work-wise, no, first of all, it was hard to do meetings with people that would not speak, well, French, and I don't speak Cambodian, but we would have to meet down at English, which was hard for them, really hard. So adapting to a new working culture was really hard, but interesting. I just talk about myself and what I gained from that. Of course, it's a benefit, but for them, it's not a benefit.
Yeah, because did you go there for you or for them? Because you had a good time, but if you didn't make such an impact, then it's just you having some vacation.
Yeah, right. That's a little bit of what I called it, a vacation, sunny vacation, a little bit of work.
And how did the locals respond to your presence there? Were they happy? Were they used to have volunteers coming so often?
They were used. We were a team of 5, and more or less for a few years it's always been 5 people. So one would come, one would go. So they were used to seeing a little white person everywhere on campus. Did I like it? Yes. The students, I remember the students were so excited about speaking English to someone that would actually reply to them in English. So I think that's a good thing, but also a hard thing, because we would change, like I only stayed there for 4 months, and since I've been there, there's probably 2 or 3 me that have done the same job. So
yeah, okay.
I don't know how and what is the project doing, my project doing right now, so I don't want to know, because I don't want to be disappointed, but yeah, I don't know where it is.
Have you heard the word voluntourism before coming there?
No.
How did you decide to learn a bit more about this?
I think you talked to me about that, so thank you. Because maybe we talked about what I was doing in Cambodia, and then we switch on a debate. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I think I remember. Yeah.
Also, because when you go there, I think what we have to keep in mind is that people go there maybe for the wrong reasons. They always do it in a genuine way. They want to help. Like the volunteers always have a good mind, they.
Yeah, it's good intentions.
Yeah, until they learn the limits of the system, then they understand maybe what they did was not as good as they thought it would be. But me, when I wanted to go there, I was not like, oh, it's gonna hurt anyone or anything.
Yeah, for sure.
I've never heard about that word, and then when you hear about that word first, you think, oh, so people actually do that, and then you say, maybe I was part of that, So.
But I'm happy I made you look into it, and maybe I won't say realize, but I'm happy you were interested by the subject afterwards, because I think most people, as you say, have good intentions, but good intention doesn't make a good project afterwards, and doesn't make necessarily good impact. So even with this podcast, I hope maybe some people will realize and try to go for more sustainable projects. Because if you really want to help, there are some stuff you can do. I was reading some stuff about voluntourism.
Okay.
And they were saying, what can you do? They were first saying that you should avoid kids, as what we say, because of attachment issues and everything.
Okay, makes sense.
Because I know that orphanages are very trendy to go and work there.
Also because they require people working there, so.
But then they were saying that if you really want to help, then you can do the cleaning of the orphanage, or you can do the food or something.
Okay.
But you shouldn't have contact with the kids, because you are not staying long, so it's not good for them.
Okay, that makes sense. But then who would go to a foreign country just to clean?
Yeah, but that's why if you really want to help, that's what you should do. But then if you just want to chat with kids and have fun, then you shouldn't go there.
Okay.
I mean, it does them more harm than good.
I'm not surprised by that.
Then you should avoid animals that are not domesticated.
Okay.
Like, if, for example, if you go to, I want to take an example of a friend we have that went to Namibia to feed some lions and stuff in reserve. I don't know, like a national park. And so I think this could be avoided because you don't know how they are treated. You don't know anything about those animals and you are not trained to be around them.
Yeah.
But for example, if you go to a dog shelter and you just walk the dogs, that's very good. And you can do that every day if you want.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because the dogs don't have attachment
it's easier,
issues.
yeah.
And they're domesticated, so they're used to have humans around, and also walking the dogs can be super fun for people, so you can just go there. It's cool. Avoid some things that require proper skills that you don't have, for example, teaching, because it could be given to someone that is trained, or the money could be used to train the person.
I think you could just do like you said, like cleaning the floor or just making the food or anything that you just need 2 hands and a little brain to do it.
Yeah, or beach cleaning, for example, or also donations to some projects. But there, if you go and you see some charity doing some stuff, you can go and give them something. Or I also heard of a project, it was in Cambodia, I think, to fund an orphanage. They had a coffee shop. So then, for example, if you go and have a coffee in that coffee shop, it helps them more than if you go and try to help by teaching the kids, for example.
Okay, that's somehow of a good way, but be careful not to fall into the trap of buy my product because I'm funding a part of it, like to a company, like to an organization. Because maybe they're gonna make like 10 cents on your coffee, but then the owner is gonna make $1.50. So
this you should always look into the stuff you.
But it's
do.
hard. So
if you want to do real good, just look into the organization, try to really understand everything that's around.
Or give to a very big organization. Like
but if there is a
WWE.
cause you really want to help.
Okay.
Even WWF, I haven't looked into it. It's not because it's a big organization that it's good either.
I think when it's bigger, they have more
regulations,
rules, and people looking and actually counting up the numbers. I would hope so. I'm not saying it's the case, but I would hope so. I would trust way more a big organization than just someone says, oh, with a friend, give me money, I'm going to go to Cambodia and help.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not, yeah.
But the coffee shop I was talking about was in Cambodia, next to the orphanage, I think.
Oh,
so
great.
They were trying to fund the place.
Oh, okay.
So this is okay. But yeah, in France, if someone says, buy my coffee, I will give some money to Cambodia, I wouldn't trust them.
And that's something I was really disappointed with, because the organization I was with was working with Sephora, as I said before. And so I would see a bunch of advertisement from us as, oh, you should go to Sephora. And also as Sephora, oh, you should round up your price tag and you're going to help a little kid in Cambodia. But to me, it's just a big marketing plan that has some advantages to the kids, but that has a big advantage to the number of sales of Sephora. Yeah, because that makes you want to buy that little shirt, because yes, it's 25 euros, but it's 25 euros plus you make a kid smile. So, you know.
Yeah, it's like greenwashing. They're just trying to make themselves look good.
Exactly. So I was a bit sad with that. And I had one of, so we were 5, right? And so one of them was marketing, on the marketing team. So basically we were 5. So one was doing the science stuff. Then I was doing the recycling stuff. One was doing the English bit. One that was really interesting. She was doing something about women's right, because she was writing from a university in Paris about women's right. And one was about marketing. So the one for marketing, just a reminder that every one of those persons had training in what they were doing there. So at least it's some kind of good. And the one at marketing was showing to me like they had to show the best image they could give. And thing that was surprising me is when they were doing photo shoots with the girls, first of all, they would always choose the smallest girls because they were so cute, you know. And out of the, let's say, grade 3, so maybe 7 or something, they would always pick the same really pretty girls, and you know. And it was not like a reality that what we show you as from marketing is somehow of the reality, but just a little bit of that reality. And Also, I remember they made a film about, oh, if you give that amount of money, then it's gonna go to a family, because they had a program of you would give and that money would go directly to the family, which is great. But what they had to do to promote it was to live in like a Cambodian family for like a day or something. So I remember they chose like one of the, let's say, the poorest, you know. They had to show the suffering of that family, maybe even exaggerating it, just for you in France to be like, oh, I feel so sorry, I want to give the 100 euros, you know. So that was a little ick for me, that we were always trying to look for that sweet spot. But that's also something that's true for many businesses. So, you know.
Yeah, because it's marketing, but it's said that you are marketing around a charity. Because it's supposed to be a charity. It's a non-profit organization.
It is, yeah. It is non-profit, so they don't make more than just a salary, which is a way of saying they can make a lot. Because, well, the CEO of that company, my organization, also happens to be very famous from like TV and stuff. What always surprised me is that she was handling the business of my organization, but she was giving all the work to like someone else that we really knew. Like, we don't know the CEO, but like the other one, we really know her because she's the one handling the business. But the first one, the one famous on TV, had like a huge salary of like 6 or 7k euros a month. And honestly, I don't know if she does much for the organization every month. So you could say that's not that much, because she has a big company. Like, she hires like 300 Cambodian people. So yes, that's she deserves to have a salary. But what does she really do other than just, you know, have a name on and sign papers? So I was a bit obfuscated by that. Also, when she would come to Cambodia to visit the school every now and then, they would always take the plane, Air France and business minimum. So who
business
pays?
Class.
Yeah, who pays? I'm not sure, but I have my idea. So
it's very hypocritical to just go to your non-profit organization to help some Cambodian people and you just fly business.
In a way, yeah. I was, and so I remember because we were like hosted on the school. We had like a little room for us interns, which was fun because we were together. But by night, most of the girls would go home to their families, but some of them didn't have families anymore, and they would stay at the boarding school. So let's say it was 50 of them, so 50 girls, maybe 10 Cambodian women that would help us do the cleaning stuff, everything, and then us 5 interns. So I felt like I was really a part of that project. But when the CEO and other important people would join and visit us in Cambodia, they would stay in a hotel, you know, which really shows like the distance they have from between them and I.
What were your conditions of living? Do you think you lived better than the locals? Did you have access to some stuff they didn't have access to?
I paid for the stuff I wanted to have access to. For example, like I had maybe better food and stuff, but that's with the money I brought from France. So no, I don't think I was treated better than them, you know. Also, they would always eat first, so would only have leftovers, which I think is important. And other than having the right to have a motorbike and they don't, I don't think I was treated way better.
You left this organization before the end of your contract.
I did because of things I told you about, like the plane and stuff, the way they would sometimes use the money, and also by the way they would disrespect the workers. But I don't think it has anything to do with Voluntourism, but more of that company especially.
Okay, then I think we talked a bit about your whole experience. We also said what we think you should do if you want to volunteer abroad.
Yeah.
Also think about volunteering in your home country. And yeah, final thoughts. Do you have anything to add?
Well, not really, but we're not like shaming people because
No.
I did it and maybe people did and will. Just when you do something, let's try to all together and not think about what we're doing and whether it's good for us, good for others. And if you're okay with the fact that it's not good for others but good for you, then feel free to do whatever you want, but keep that in mind.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you very much for your insights and see you in the next episode.
See you.
Bye bye.